Hey guys, it's January 2nd. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm sure many of you are wondering how our greenhouse is doing. As you know, we built it early in the spring in 2010, around February, March. We're in southern Ontario, Canada. We're very close to Detroit, if that helps you guys with your geography. Well, let's see. It's sorry if I sound a little funny. A little bit of a cold here. I'm outside right now. I don't think you can really tell, but there's some snow in the air. It's Celsius. It's around between -5 and -10 outside. We had quite a bit of snow already this season, but the last 2 days here, it was well above freezing. It was around 10 degrees Celsius, low teens. That'd be around the 50s Fahrenheit. So all the snow melted, so I thought this is a great time to show you what's going on because you can actually see things. I'll at the end of the video I'll give you a picture of the snow so you can see what it was like here just 1 week ago, because I took pictures about a week ago around the greenhouse and stuff. Alright, outside here, here's the herb garden. If you guys remember what that looks like when it's flourishing in the summer, it's really beautiful. We do have herbs that continue to grow through the winter, even under the snow. This is the sage. You know, you've seen it look healthier, but imagine this has been under snow for a month. Look how great that looks. Let me smell it here. Oh, it smells wonderful. That smells great. The other herb that seems to go all winter is the thyme. And I tend to use a lot of thyme in the winter. I have some that dried in the house, and I use that all winter long. I love that in the winter. So you can see that keeps on growing. It seems to do better in the winter than in the summer, and the only reason for that is it's not fighting with all the other herbs to, you know, gain resources and space and whatever. So it does pretty well in the winter. I'm not sure to what temperature it can continue to do well, but last winter, all winter under the snow, it continued growing just like this. So thyme is very hardy. Alright, let's check out the greenhouse. You can see the water droplets on the greenhouse there. On sunny days, it warms up well in the greenhouse. Cloudy days, it does not. Just a second. Lock's hard to do with one hand. Alright. Inside the greenhouse. Show you the temperature in here. It's almost 10 degrees Celsius. I've had the door open and closed a couple times, so it's cooled off slightly. But it's almost 10 degrees Celsius in here. So that's, you know, like 15 degrees warmer than it is outside. Again, that only happens on sunny days. Cloudy days, it's just as cold inside the greenhouse as it is outside. And at night, it must drop just as cold. Of course, you don't have the wind inside. That's a good thing. You can see there's not much going on in here, but there is some greenery. Most things died off. These are carrots growing here, and there's some lettuce back there. Not doing much. These are the carrots. They're doing just fine. They're not growing quickly, but they haven't died. Over here, spinach, and it's growing very slowly. I planted Brussels sprouts and beets in here. You can see the beets are still coming, but again, very slow. Over here we have lots more carrots, and we've actually eaten some of the carrots very recently from here. So the carrots are growing. Over here we have kale, and those seeds were given to us by BC Garden 2010, I think her name is. She's a gardener from British Columbia. So the kale is growing, not very fast. It tastes wonderful though. Thank you, Katie. Back here we have garlic, and that garlic just came on its own. We had garlic planted there previously, and we thought we dug it all up, but apparently not, because it's growing very, very well, so I thought I'd leave it. Always leave volunteers, right? Before the garlic started growing on its own, we'd planted some beets there. As you can see, the purpley leaves, they're coming along. Very, very slowly, but they're not dead. Another thing that's still coming along are peas. Again, very slowly, but they haven't died off. Just 3 or 4 peas on the thing. That's all that's been on there all winter so far, just these 3 or 4 peas. And that is it for life in the greenhouse. Over here we had tried planting some pumpkins, and those were doing really well until we had our first really cold spout, and they died off very quickly. I have a massive onion growing there. Again, that's something I thought I dug all of it up, but there's one coming along. One of the experiments we tried was doing a compost pile in the greenhouse to try to warm up the greenhouse. Has not worked, but I believe it would work if we'd done a better job of creating a compost pile. This is the compost pile. The green on top is stuff I just added today, just pulling up some greens that are here and there, but, you know, basically dead. For the most part, when I put greens in there, I bury them underneath the brown stuff, the leaves and things. And I've been wetting down the pile, and I've covered the pile in a tarp to try to retain some heat and moisture in there to kickstart the compost pile. Hasn't done much. Things aren't breaking down. I think there's a couple problems. One is that the compost pile is just plain too small. If you want a hot compost pile, usually it's best if you have a much bigger compost pile than this. At least twice the size in like ground space that it takes up. However, I have had a hot compost before in just a compost container. Very hot, so I just haven't got the right mix, I guess. Has not worked, but I believe it would work if I did a better job on it. You can see there's some Christmas lights here. There's a guy in BC who grows citrus fruits like lemons, oranges, limes, that kind of thing. And he does it in an unheated greenhouse in BC. Now, BC does have a different climate than we do here, but still a Canadian. Really cold nights, he just warms his trees up using Christmas lights. So I thought, hey, let's try to use Christmas lights in here to heat the greenhouse. Did not work. Few reasons for that. One, some of these lights just plain didn't heat up. They weren't very hot lights. They are the old kind, so I thought they all would, but they don't. Another, there's not enough of them. I don't put them close enough to the ground, maybe. I don't know. Did not work. Only tried it for like a day, and then I thought it was stupid, and I took them down. I have a problem with using lights to heat your greenhouse. Surely there are hot lights you could use, spotlights, those kinds of things. But the time you need them is at night to heat the greenhouse, because during the day, most of the time it heats up fine in here. But do you really want to light all night in your greenhouse? You really need your plants to have the cycles of light and dark, right? So why would you want a light on all night? A light that's bright enough to be hot enough to heat it. So I abandoned that idea myself. It is toasty warm in here. I love it because it's so cold outside. Some people may be wondering an update on the potato box we built. You'll see there was a video we did on this potato box. We created this design ourselves. We thought it was ingenious at the time. It didn't work very well, and I believe there are multiple reasons for that. One is we didn't include a decent watering system for it. Whereas the rest of the greenhouse here is watered by soaker hoses, we didn't incorporate soaker hoses into the potato box. So it only gets watered if we manually water it ourselves, which was hard to do because our regular garden hose was just barely out of reach, so it was really awkward to water it regularly, so it didn't get watered regularly enough. That's one reason why it didn't work. I'm sure there's multiple reasons why this didn't work. I attempted to harvest potatoes from it earlier in the season, like, around August, September, whenever it is you normally would harvest potatoes. Could not find any, so I left it, and the greenery kept growing, so I thought I'll just leave it and harvest it when all that stuff dies off, which it did, finally. And believe it or not, today, January 2nd, I dug up potatoes from it. This bucket is almost full of potatoes, which might seem great, except for I'm sure I planted at least that many initially anyway. There's probably more in the box. Another thing I didn't consider is really how I would get that dirt out of the box in a way that I could easily search for potatoes in it. You could lay a tarp on the ground and just throw the dirt all over that, and that's probably the best way to do it. Didn't really feel like going through that trouble, so I just dug through it today with some gloves on, and I got that many potatoes. So I guess we'll have potatoes for supper for the next couple nights. It'll do a few meals. There's only 2 of us that live here, and we love red potatoes, so we planted red potatoes there. I am going to try potatoes again. I don't know for sure if I'll try this box again. If I do, I'm going to have to incorporate soaker hoses into it somehow. I'm sure that won't be difficult. I will change the soil out because you really shouldn't grow potatoes in the same soil 2 years in a row. I might not use this for potatoes this year. I might try something different. So that's the update on the greenhouse. One more update to give you. I'm sure you want to know how the greenhouse has withstood the winter weather. For the most part, it has withstood the winter weather. However, we had one storm that had very heavy wet snow with wind, and the greenhouse could not withstand that. The plastic would not stay on. The problem was these little clips just weren't strong enough to hold the plastic when it was that heavy with snow falling on it. So we spent quite a bit of time out here in the wet snow trying to put this together in such a way that it would stay. What we ended up doing, unfortunately, is stapling it to the wood here, just in this one area on each side of the greenhouse. And it has stood ever since. It has not fallen down again in any weather we've had yet. But we haven't had another nasty wet snowstorm like that. So it's doing well. Really, that's all there is to update you on our greenhouse. Well, just wanted to show you guys the snow coming down now. Right after I turned the camera off last time, it just started really snowing. You can't tell as well on camera as well as I can see in life, but it's like it's snowing pretty well now. So I guess the snow all melted in time to get some more. Oh well, it's January 2nd and it is Canada.